Ahoy! It's louisity again, and for this reading vlog, we are reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. Hoorah! So I'm excited reading and starting another series in the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, and definitely this is one of those that I'm definitely thrilled. Obviously, I'm eager to read like most, if not all, of the books in the imprint, and I've been wanting to read this for quite some time. I received this as a Christmas gift from one of my colleagues. I asked for it, and I'm so glad that I received it. And yes, I'm in the process of hopefully owning like the other books in the series slash trilogy. I started it a few days ago, as you can see in the previous clips, and I'm nearly 80 pages done. So this follows the story of Tristan, who was dealing with grief, with the loss of his bestie, with his best friend, and he has like his journal. The name of the best friend is Eddie, and he was sent by his family to Alabama to hopefully, help him cope with his grief. And then one day a magical creature grabs the journal of Eddie, which, the one that was passed to Tristan. By the way, just to let you know, the journal is magical, and all of a sudden he ends up being in this world after like punching a tree and being able to suck into this magical world where he gets to meet like, West African gods, as far as I have searched, with some of the terms here so far. This is like a Ghanaian mythology, like inspired middle grade fantasy book. Did I say that correctly? Ghanaian mythology inspired middle grade fantasy book. But anyway, yes, and also it does deal about, living up to expectations. Like Tristan here is expected to follow the legacy of his family. His dad is a boxer, so is his grandfather, and you get to see how these whole like man up things going on. So, if that's something that would bother you, please read that with caution, just in case. Especially for my fellow dude readers, if that's something that's like, please be cautious about. Please read with caution that, Tristan's grandfather comes across like that, just deal with it, kind of like mentality. And yeah, so definitely interested about how the world is. I like how so far the world is being built up, and how the journey, not necessarily a quest, but at least as far as I've read so far, but like the journey is just so, it's like it's brewing, which is pretty good. I'm liking it so far. And what else do I have to say? Yes, and it does deal with like, family and how family members treat one another. If you want to know what I mean, well, start reading this book. So yeah, and I'll catch folks later, and I'll give you more updates about what I think about this. Whoa. So here's a reading update of Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia, and I'm more than 200 pages done, and so far I've been enjoying it. The only thing that is a little bit convoluted is when, we are transitioning from Tristan's dreams or nightmares to the world of Alke. That is kind of a little bit hard to like follow at times, but overall the world building is intense, and it was crafted in a beautiful yet like it's just action packed from what I noticed from all like the iron creatures that are facing, and like all like that arguing between like Rare Rabbit and John, that was fascinating to read. And how I'm just so eager about what is going to happen between these characters. I'm not really a character-driven kind of person, but I'd have to say that the characterizations are on point. Gum Baby's characterization, adorable, really adorable. And I love how it has a lot of things that are profound and it's going to make you contemplate, usual things that these novels bring from the Rick Riordan Presents imprint. It does think about like failure, being afraid to be a failure. It did tackle a bit of that part, and that like thought process when Tristan was like, I didn't do anything and I felt like I was a failure. That really resonated really well, and that can make an impact, I believe, to readers of this book. If you've read this book, feel free to comment down below if you agree. Yeah, and that was really crafted or written really well. Dealing with how you wish you could have done something better, and that's what I like about novels. Not only of course limited to the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, and this is just like my observation, and maybe like from like books from other heritages or races, I would also encounter this. But there is something about when Black books or books written by Black authors, when they have this like adult and kid talking about life, that resonates more. Like that conversation between John and Tristan about like boxing, and I don't know, I felt like there was something like homey, and like I felt like I was in a haven, and I felt like I am witnessing a care of an adult to a kid, which I'm not sure in particular if I read that from other books written by people of different like races or heritages. Maybe like I think there could be some like an I Believe in thing called Love, and maybe a bit in Shine and To Old Boys I've Loved Before. But I noticed like with the Hate You Give, I think in Amari there's a little bit of that, if I'm not mistaken. In Love Radio by Ebony Liddell, like the daddy daughter kind of like conversations and teaching about life, and it was able to like depict it in like that scene where John decided to like speak with Tristan for a bit and kind of like enlighten him if he's going to go for the mission or not. So yeah, and we got to see how like Tristan can make like his weapon is like storytelling. Yeah, so definitely eager about what's going to happen next and how the events are going to turn out. How are they going to meet Anansi? What is the price? So I'm definitely intrigued. So yeah, I'll catch you folks later, and I'm going to continue reading. So I'm excited. Whoa. Here's a reading update of Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia, and I have to say that so far the adventures, they're not the usual ones that I see in middle grade / preteen fantasy novels, and I like about that. It was just so intense. The illustrations of the characters, the battle scenes are quite vivid and enough, whether I guess even as a middle grade it could be handled pretty well, and as an adult something that it's like you're watching a film and you can really see the things that are happening, and the characterizations are very consistent, they're very strong. I love the fact where Tristan was thinking about his limitations, that he's not really like what he thinks of himself is not really highly, which kind of makes you think as an adult. But feel free to comment down below like if that could still be suitable for like middle grade or preteen folks. And yeah, also I like how Tristan's superpower here so far is like storytelling. It's really such a profound yet creative way to like spin things off, and I feel that there's just more to come. And I think that even if in terms of the pace it's just right, because at least as far as I know this is going to be a trilogy, so I know that it's like we were zoomed right away to the world of Alki, and there's just so many things that are like going on, and we're not like right away jumping onto like the stakes right away, which is pretty good, like a great build up. So yeah, so far it's pretty good, and I'll catch folks later. Whoa. So I'm already more than 400 pages done with Tristan Strong punches a hole in the sky, and honestly, I'm worried. I'm worried because the Mothra has arrived to, not sure if I'm pronouncing this name correctly, Naomi's place or Naomi's palace. And also I'm worried for Ayana and Chestnut. You know, something bad happened to them in the past 100 pages. But you know what? I would like to talk about something that I might not have mentioned in the previous clip. I like how it talked about like borders and how there's a need for each like country to help one another. And I also like how they discuss the story box, you know, being something that different places want to have and kind of like a symbol of power. You know, I'm trying, I mean, that's what I've thought about it, but I feel that the book is trying to allude it to something in reality, although I could not pinpoint it. Feel free to comment down below if you folks like have thoughts about what the story box represents in our planet. And then also throughout like the past 100 pages, there's something that really struck me when you know they were talking about like grief, you know, and moving on. Pretty much like this is one of like the core things that this book tackles. I mean, we know the premise about Tristan losing his best friend Eddie, and kind of like these events with Ayana and Chestnut like triggered those, like how it was hard for him to like go like, okay, he lost Eddie, and now like is he gonna lose Ayana also, and of course Chestnut, and like how you know what really struck me here is the part where Fawinde, if I got the name correctly, um, was saying about not enough or too much is the same. And it kind of made me think about like personally, like months ago, I was thinking about, you know, you cannot be too sad and you cannot also be too happy. It's like, you know, when you're too happy, you might get to the point where you get to be so idealistic that when things don't turn out the way that they do, because in reality is it is not about your ideals, it's not about what you think things are all the time. If you know what I'm saying. Like for example, for people, you can't be too happy with your relationships with people because not everything is going to be ideal for you, and you can't always lurk on sadness where you miss out on things that could, you know, give you joy, you know. So it's kind of like finding that sort. You cannot be like stuck. It's okay to have these feelings every now and then, but you cannot let them be like thoughts that's gonna swallow you. And those are the things that like made that I was like thinking about during the past months that, you know, made me think when they were talking about that part, you know, when they were talking about like because of grief, of course, and like Hi John, or yeah, Hi John, yeah, that's right. Hi John was mentioning about, you know, you do not forget but you accept. You know, it's like how sometimes things should be, you know, you do not forget about them but you have to accept and like move on, you know, in order for you to really be like the process. And I hope honestly that if somebody reads this who goes through something, will not just add value but will truly help them to what they are going through. And what else did I say? There's something at the tip of my tongue that I just like recalled. Yeah, there's just so many like profound things that were like being discussed here, you know, which is really, I think, really wonderful, you know. Despite the intensity of the action-packed scenes, which is like really done well by Kwame. What else? There was something at the tip of my tongue. I'm trying to think about it, like what it was. It had something to do with that scene, you know. Um, But anyway, it'll probably pop out later on. It'll probably insert like another clip or something. But yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward for more Gun Baby antics. So yeah, I'll catch you folks later. And I'm not sure if this was the one that I was about to say in the previous clip, but I also want to bring this up. I like the way how flashbacks were done here. Every now and then we get to see like how you know, Tristan and Eddie met and like what happened in the accident. Like the way that they did that because of the storytelling aspect, it didn't feel like, okay, randomly this flashback came out. So I thought it was done like properly. Okay, so I just finished reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky, and I'm about to say like a spoiler. Well, I don't really claim my reading vlogs as spoiler free, so they are what they are, but I'm pretty sure this one could be. So I warned you, but anyway, that revelation of Brer Rabbit being like Anansi was really quiet, something that I didn't expect. Like, to be frankly speaking, like in terms of how like this will end, it just took me in a lot of surprise about like how he's going to deal with Uncle C, also known as like Dr. Cotton. So like all the things that happened here were like surprises, like that bargain that was happening, and like the punishment that Anansi is going to get, and how like Tristan is going to continue with his stories. Like I'm definitely like looking forward about how it is going to go, and I didn't really expect. I was like thinking, will Tristan be stuck in the world of Alki like throughout the entire like series? But ending is that yeah, he gets to go home. And then also I was actually curious about what his family, like Tristan's family, is going to react, or how they're going to react about him returning, even though if he was just like gone for the night. I'm just really curious about what's going to happen like in Tristan's like world, or our world basically, like how it is going to be in Illinois and Alabama. I'm definitely curious about what's going to happen. And honestly, I am looking forward for more Gun Baby. Bring me some more Gun Baby with her precautionary measures and all those terms. Like, I say that I'm not a character-driven person, but like Gun Baby and Kenji from the Shadow Me series know how to add spice. Like their characterizations are done really well, that really adds flavor to the overall narrative. So there's that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And for some reason I did like search who like the other characters are, like how they look like, at least based on some fan arts, or maybe some of them are like official arts. And I'm trying to think, like there must be like some sort of symbolism with Uncle C, with Dr. Cotton. I'm just wondering whether, for some reason when I was like looking at it, I was like, you know what, Aaron, like I was just like trying to contemplate, like, are the like Fetterlings and all these monsters, like iron monsters, kind of like a symbolism of colonization? I don't know, just like made me think about that in a way, and how it also deals with how people should unite when there's a common enemy. Very interesting, and like talks about power, the hunger for power. It's going to make you contemplate on those things. So yeah, pretty good one. It could be a little bit convoluted at times. I For like a middle grade, I do think that it might be fine if it was like a young adult novel. I know some people tag this as a young adult, but like I know that when this is the color of Rick Riordan Presents, it's more presented towards the middle grade, because I saw like the other books in the imprint and they're like in silver, those that were really tagged for like young adults. But anyway, either way, it's still pretty good. I'm giving this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts about the things that I said in this vlog, or any comments, about the book if you've read it, or if this vlog motivated you to read Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. And if you've made it this far, leave like a tariff calendar emoji. And I hope you folks liked this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, click that subscribe button and hit that little bell icon somewhere down there to keep yourselves posted about my videos. I'll also put down links and handles on my social media accounts, so feel free to check me out and follow me there and support me there as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Always be thankful and unleash the reader in you. Bye, y'all.